Hello, hello, hello.
Hey everyone.
So you might notice things are looking a little bit different today. I've just suddenly realised I've got a little charm coming out the top of my head. If you're watching the video, I look like I've got something coming out the top of my head because we haven't got our usual setup today. We are deciding that we are needing to do things a little differently as we come into 2024 because the end of last year was a little bit challenging, right?
Last year was a little bit challenging.
Yeah, last year as a whole was a little bit challenging.
We're
Yes.
kind of sneaking into 2024 like tiptoe, like
Nobody touching anything, nobody looking at anything.
maybe they won't realize we're here
Yeah.
yet. I feel like that's kind of a general sentiment that a lot of people in my life have right now. That's just kind of...
Everyone's in that same, like, don't touch anything, don't mention anything, keep your eyes down, just like sneak in. And I think that from our standpoint, as you know, normally we record ahead of time, which we did last year. I think we recorded in August and we managed to get ourselves recorded through the end of the year, which was great. The challenge is that I was sick for I'm still not 100% well for the last 3 months of the year. Serena also had bouts of sickness and things that were going on. And there were moments like in the end of December where we're like, okay, maybe we could get an episode recorded so that we can keep up with our weekly releases. And then we came into the beginning, we're like, oh no, we're not in the space to do that. We don't have the capacity to do that right now. And then as we started the beginning of this year, we were like, oh, well, maybe we can do just one to keep us going. And we've decided we need to walk our talk and take care of our needs. And so we are doing another little podcast pause. Now, we don't know yet how long the podcast pause will take. It may be a week, it may be 2 weeks. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere for a long period of time. We would like to get back as soon as possible. But we think we just need to make sure we need to take the time to take care of ourselves, take care of our needs, and really make sure that we have the capacity to be able to give you the best of us in the podcast, which is what we always try to do, right?
You can't pour from an empty cup.
I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah, that needs stuff we talk about all the time. But we didn't want to leave you with just us. I mean,
why not?
Why not? But we're going to give you some sprinkles on top of the us factor. And, we've obviously been doing this for 2 years. We have a lot of episodes, and there are some things that have been very present for a lot of people in our lives recently. And we just wanted to remind you, like, whatever you're going through, like, whatever you're dealing with, chances are there's an episode that kind of touches upon it.
Absolutely. And if there isn't, you need to reach out to us and let us know, because if you're experiencing it, chances are somebody else is experiencing it. So we want to make sure that as we start recording again, that we bring those elements in too.
So if you're coming into this new year and you're waiting for an apology from somebody that you don't think you're gonna get, you know what? You can meet that need for yourself and do it. Go into our episode guide, type in apology. You're going to see an entire series, and then you're going to see all our other episodes that kind of touch upon it too.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you kind of come into this new year you might be feeling or dealing with. As Serena said, like, we have an episode on how to do, like, what to do if you're waiting for an apology that's never going to come. We also have an episode which is like how to make an apology. So, like, the holidays can sometimes get a bit intense. Like, how do you?
You don't say.
Just a little bit. Like, we've both been dealing with some stuff recently. So, like, how do you make an authentic apology and make sure that you're doing it in a way that's actually going to heal the relationships? We also have
boundaries.
So again, around the holidays, sometimes we can compromise our boundaries. And so, like, if we need a little bit of a reminder of that, there's an episode on that. One of the big things that is true any time of year, but especially around this time of year, and especially not only around the holidays, but around the new year as well. There's a lot of anxiety that comes up because we feel like there's this pressure to be the kind of new year, new me kind of thing. And if you're feeling any of that, go back and listen to our New Year's episode from last year, because that went in a whole different direction to where we thought it was going to, but we were both really pleased with it. We're like, oh, this feels authentic. This feels like it's actually going to be in alignment with where a lot of people are feeling. But also we have the anxiety episode. So if you want to go into that episode guide, type in anxiety. If you hit, I think it's Command F or Control F when you go into it, it'll bring up the find. I mean, you can go in and use the menu system to find it as well. But if you do that, you can then just type in that thing, hit enter, and it will bring up all the instances where that shows up throughout the episode guide, and all the episodes include those things.
And something, I mean, we all kind of come into this, like, we've been kind of in condition to come into the new year, like, let's get this going, woo. I'm sorry, Yeah, I'm burnt out. Like,
Yes.
I'm burnt out after this holiday season, after this last year, and because we're human, like, we are still burnt out. We are handling it a lot better than most people would.
Yes.
I mean, there have been times both of us have been like, thank God for what we do. Because,
Yes.
you know, we're circling the drain, we're in our holes, we're doing all these things, but, like, we're tired.
Right.
There's, you know, like, the year took a lot on us. So, like...
And there were lots of unexpected things this year. Like, we're very good at, like, preparing and planning for things that could be challenging. But there were a lot of curveballs this year, or last year, that gave us way more to deal with than average. And the fact that we're still here and still functioning and breathing in and out means we're doing good. But yeah, if you're feeling burnt out, then we definitely have an episode to help out with that. Oh, me?
You
okay.
and-
Okay. I've actually just realized, like, we have a little list here that we put together, and I'm just realizing there's something on that's missing from the list. So I'm going to say that while I'm remembering it. If you are really struggling right now, and there are a lot of people who are really, really struggling right now. I literally was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and this person was like, "I'm really struggling." I'm like, do you listen to podcasts or do you watch videos on YouTube at all? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually starting to do more of that. I'm like, I have something that might be helpful for you. And we have an episode like what to do when you're really, really struggling. Like you're really struggling to get out of bed in the morning. You're struggling to function. You're struggling to do the basics in life. That's an episode that could be really helpful for where you're at right now. Because I know that several people are there right now. Yes.
Oh, no. I'm one of those people.
I was about to throw it over to you anyway. I'm like, you don't have to put your hand up. That's a new technique in the podcast. Coming soon in 2024.
I'm just showing, like, it's like we've said it before. Like, it doesn't not affect us.
Right.
So, like,
we're still human.
We're human and we struggle. And
yeah, there are times which are tough, and that having the knowledge that we do means that we're better equipped to deal with those moments when it happens. But we still have to deal with them. Like we don't get to bypass all of that stuff just because of what we do and what we teach.
That would be amazing, though.
I mean, it would be. Yeah.
I mean, because I can still see. I'm like, I see you, and
yes,
and I'm still walking towards you. What the fuck is wrong? But okay, we're doing this.
Well, and sometimes it's not even like stuff we have a choice over. It's stuff like it's like, okay, it's here. We have to deal with this now. Okay, how are we going to deal with it? It still sucks while we're dealing with it, which is part of the reason we're taking this pause, because we need to take that time to take care of ourselves.
Go back to the basics,
like foundations,
the core of what we do, the Self First series.
Yeah.
Like, check that out if you haven't heard it. Go listen to it. If you have listened to it, that's one that even I will catch myself kind of re-upping on the information just to ingrain it in, because it's so important that we are doing life from a self-first perspective.
And if you're listening to this and you don't know what Self First is, go back and listen to episode 2, I think it is, where we actually introduce that concept as well. So, and it's a game changer, like, for a lot of people. We also have a series on self-worth. So if you're kind of struggling with that feeling of not enoughness, or
there's a lot of that after the holidays too, where you're comparing yourselves to the other families, to the other people, and to all the other things.
Absolutely. And also when you kind of like at the beginning of the new year, there's all these kind of everyone's trying to sell you something. Everyone's trying to sell you, oh, there we go, somebody's walking by in front of my house. There we go. That's, I mean, you're getting us raw right now. This is not polished in any way, shape, or form. Like, where everybody's like, oh, like trying to sell you the latest fitness thing or the latest thing, and you're looking at your body and you're looking at their body and you're like, oh God, like, am I ever going to get there, kind of thing. Like, and like that body type might not actually fit with what is kind of healthy and feels good for your body, but we still get into that kind of comparison space. So if we need a bit of a reminder of our innate worth, not because we look a certain way, not because we do certain things, but just because we exist, then our self-worth series is something to go and check out. You do the next one. I'm going to go and unplug that thing in case it goes off again, because it may well do.
Got to keep the Amazon packages on the DL there. The next one is going to be capacity. Like, right now, this is one of the reasons we're doing this, is our capacity isn't where it needs to be to give you what we want to give you as, viewers. And we have some really important topics coming up that are in the pipeline. Like, we have this stuff. It's just... If we're not there, then you're not getting what you need. So,
and we're not going to remember. Like, we need to be on, because I mean, even in this little podcast pause, there are things that like, oh, we remembered things. Like, we want to have the capacity to be able to go off book and go off piste and go off on tangents. Because if you watch us, we do that every now and again.
Yeah, just sometimes.
Every now and again. So we want to be on for those things. So it's like, so
how do
when
you
you talk
increase
about
your capacity? Right. How do you honor your capacity? And that's what we're doing. We're honoring it right now. We could be trying to increase it, and we are slowly as we are honoring it. But we could completely pass over the actual honoring and be like, nope, we got to get it done. And then we get it done, and we're like, fuck.
Exhausted, And that's the thing, is that you can do those two things in tandem with each other. You can honor where you're at while doing things to increase your capacity, which is what we're both doing right now. But we also know that if we went straight in, it'd be like, oh, yeah, we're not honoring our capacity at all right now. Relationships. We have a friendship series. We've got lots of stuff in there that is relevant to relationships. We actually have a relationship series in the pipeline to record, which is about kind of relationships in general. But we've got a lot of things that kind of come up, like how to deal with conflict and various things like that, that are relevant to relationships. So if you're struggling, if you're having some issues with family relationships, friendships, intimate relationships, relationships at work, like have a look for the things that you're struggling with. The chances are there'll be an episode there that's going to be covering that stuff.
And something that I deal with around the holidays a lot of times, grief. Like it's very present for a lot of people, especially when there are people who are not there. You know, you tend to kind of get those feels again. So we have an entire series on it. We also have some little kind of random episodes throughout that can really help to identify and process and make yourself
help with the healing and help with the coping
and help you get through. I mean, and I know that's kind of the coping, but like just that, okay, somebody else gets that. Grief sucks.
Absolutely. Like you say, we've got random episodes. I mean, we've got a lot of random episodes like this, and these are just some of the ideas that we're coming up with now, some of the things that you may be experiencing right now. And if nothing we're speaking to right now resonates with you, go onto that episode guide and find the things that are really resonating with where you're at. Even if you've listened to them before, maybe if they're present for you right now, you're probably going to get more out of it, or you're probably going to hear something different from the point of view where it's present for you and relevant than it might have been when it was like something you heard as a theoretical thing, because it was something, at some point this could be relevant, but it's not right now.
Now you're putting names and faces to the stuff, and you're like, oh. And sometimes it's your own name and face, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then I mentioned it when we were talking about the relationships, like how to deal with conflict. I mean, there tends to be a lot of conflict that happens around the holidays, unfortunately. And just knowing how to deal with that, knowing how to start to figure out how you want to deal with it, because it may be that you want to address it with the person, it may be that you don't. There's a lot of there's episodes in the episode guide that will kind of point you to the things that might be helpful as far as that's concerned.
And something that we all deal with, and if you have been, well, if you're watching this, chances are you went through 2020.
And that's human that exists right now, yes.
Like, and that's just one thing in the grand scheme, but like the last 4 years have been a collective trauma for
a lot of us.
Yeah,
everyone. Let's be honest.
But
there's and the thing about it is, we don't even know. We're not just talking about the big traumas. And if you go and listen to the trauma episodes, then we'll actually break down what the different types of trauma are, and you'll see that it doesn't have to be this huge thing in order for it to be creating that traumatic response. But I think it's important to recognize that small things can be traumatic. And the thing that links to this, that again, it's not on our list, but I'm kind of going a little off bit right now, is like, how do you increase your resilience? So that when you experience those traumas, how do you increase the ability to recover from those and get back to a point where you're feeling no longer affected in the same way by it? We have an excellent episode. I think we've got an episode. I don't think we've got a series on that yet, but I mean, watch this space, like it's likely to come at some point. So the next thing is guilt and shame. Like there's a lot of stuff that comes around where we're comparing ourselves to others at this time of year, or maybe we're feeling like we're thinking back on things that happened in 2023, or maybe at the over the holiday period, and there can be a lot of guilt that people are experiencing. People sometimes just struggle with guilt on a day-to-day basis, and also with shame, and like understanding what's the difference between those two, because a lot of the time we think we're dealing with guilt, but actually what we're dealing with is shame, and those are two very different things, and we want to approach them differently. We have a whole series on that. It's one of, as Serena would say, there's probably dozens and dozens of episodes. I'm like, this is the most important episode. If you just listen to one episode, this is this one. That is one of the ones that I'm like, this is really important, because it's made such a difference in my life and in the lives of clients. So if that's something you struggle with or something that's present for you right now, that might be one to go listen to.
And, you know, why we're here. Supporting others. Like, they think that's something that many of us want to do in our daily lives, and sometimes people feel obligated to. There is definitely episodes on the obligations or what we see as obligations that aren't. And also just supporting others and supporting the people in your life while making sure you don't lose yourself in the process, which is probably one of the hardest things to do. But once you learn how to do it, makes it a lot easier to...
Yeah, and also, like, how do you do it without compromising yourself? Like, because losing yourself is one thing, but how do you do it without compromising your needs? Because so often we end up kind of doing these things where it's like, yeah, I want to help. Oh, shit, I've emptied my tank. So yeah, there's a lot of really, really amazing episodes. And as I said, these are just some of the highlights. I want to say highlights. Some of these things don't feel like highlights, but some of the things that we think are like the most important episodes and the most powerful episodes to listen to. But there are so many others. So no matter where you're at right now, chances are we have an episode that will resonate with you. And as I said, either that is you maybe haven't listened to before, or maybe you have, but now it feels more relevant. So it might be go back and worth a re-listen. So that's our suggestion between now and when we see you again, is to kind of dive into that episode guide. We'll leave a link underneath this this video or this audio, depending where you're listening, watching, whatever, and we'll make sure that you have access to the information that we do. I've just suddenly realized something. We're backwards from how we are normally, because where we sit on the couch and we're just sitting and hanging out is the opposite from where we sit when we're recording. I'm like, wow, we're the wrong way around, maybe. And I don't even know, because of how this camera records, we may be the right way around by the time that you see this. Who knows? The little things and the little tangents, the little random things that come into our episodes still come in on the podcast pauses. So yeah, between now and next time, our invitation is to go back and listen to some of those episodes. And if there is anything missing, if there is something where it's like, this is really big for me right now, I could really use some help with this, send us a message. You can get in touch via our socials, via our website, theuniversalneeds.com. Get in touch with us and let us know what it is that you're looking for and what would be helpful to you. And as you know, we're just about to start recording again, so now is a perfect time to sort of send in some of those ideas and suggestions. We have some in the pipeline, but we can always sprinkle some in if we get the information from you and it feels resonant with the stuff that we're recording. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to beginning recording again, because we love doing this. Hopefully as much as you enjoy listening to it. Certainly with how ridiculous it gets at times, I think we may enjoy it more than maybe people do listening to it.
What's this ridiculousness we talk about?
Welcome to our world. And we have some exciting new things to show you also when we get back on that appeared over the festive season. And we have a new little friend who's going to be joining us that actually we got gifted, I think, middle of last year. And we haven't recorded another episode since. So look out for that. So anyway, anything you want to share before we finish up? No, we're gonna go and take care of ourselves and rest. We invite you to do the same. And I think that's the final thing I want to say to you, is that if it feels resonant to go and listen to these things, great. And if what you need is a break, if what you need is some rest, I encourage and invite you to listen to that and to take that time to replenish your internal little tanks, so that when we do end up dropping our new episodes, that you'll be in a space where you'll be able to really get the most out of them. So between now and then, thank you for being here, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again really soon. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye, friends.